Anakin paced back and forth, the lava reflecting in his eyes that no longer carried the blue of the past, but a furious golden that burned like the hell around them. "You came here to betray me, Padme," he shouted, his voice full of rage and despair. Padme extended her hand, her breathing tremulous, tears streaming down her delicate face. "I came because I love you, Anakin. I didn't come to fight against you, but to bring you back. I know there's still good in you." He gritted his teeth and, turning around, spotted a small figure at the entrance of the ship. Master Yoda, with his lightsaber already in hand. The sight ignited his fury even more. "Even you, Padme, even you brought him to destroy me." Anakin's eyes blazed with hatred as he raised his hand toward her neck. The Force extended like an invisible claw, and Padme was lifted from the ground, choking, her hands trying in vain to loosen the grip that crushed her. The desperate sound of R2-D2 echoed across the platform, spinning and beeping in agony. "You understand nothing!" Anakin bellowed, veins bulging on his face. Padme, breathless, mumbled something between tears, but air wouldn't come, and death seemed to approach. Yoda then advanced a few steps, his gaze fixed on the young man sinking into the abyss. "Release her, you must, Skywalker," he said, his voice firm as ancient thunder, while raising his small hand. The invisible chains of the Force clashed in the air, like two waves colliding in a storm. The grip on Padme's neck broke, and she fell to her knees, coughing forcefully, trying to fill her lungs with air again. The impact of the intervention made Anakin stagger a step backward, his eyes wide for an instant. But soon the rage returned like fire consuming everything. "Don't interfere, old man," he screamed, his voice laden with hatred. "This is my destiny. She belongs to me. The future belongs to me." Yoda did not retreat, standing firm at the entrance of the ship, the green saber illuminating the metal of the walkway. "Belong. No one belongs. Choices. Free they must be. Love, in chains, does not live." With each word, the Master's serenity contrasted with the storm devouring the apprentice's heart. Anakin clenched his fist tightly, pulling the lightsaber from his belt and activating it with a sharp snap. The blue blade vibrated like a promise of violence, reflecting in the sweat running down his face. "You want to take everything from me again, just like the Council always did," he roared, spinning the saber in front of his body. Padme, still on the ground, extended her hand in desperation. "Anakin, please listen. Don't do this. I need you. Our child needs you." His gaze wavered for a brief instant, but hatred took over again. "Everything I did was for you, and now even you have turned against me." Yoda raised his saber in guard, eyes half closed. "Against you I am not. Against what you have become, yes." Padme coughed, trying to stand, physical pain mixing with the terror of what she saw happening before her. "Anakin, I love you, but I cannot follow this monster you are becoming," she murmured, her voice choked. The young man stared at her, and for a moment, rage gave way to emptiness. But when he looked again at Yoda, hatred returned even stronger. "So this is how it is. If even you won't come with me, Padme, I don't need anyone. I am already more powerful than the Jedi." He spun the saber, the blue glow cutting through the hot air. Yoda remained firm, his small body illuminated by the green of the blade. Power without wisdom, destruction becomes. Choose you must, life or fall. The silence before the attack seemed to weigh more than the roar of the lava. Anakin's breathing accelerated, increasingly uncontrolled, as if his own rage were the only fuel of his existence. He turned back to Padme, his face a mixture of pain and fury. "I saw you die in my visions. I will not allow that to happen, even if I have to destroy all the Jedi to prevent it." Padme sobbed, tears flowing freely. "This is not how you save someone, Anakin. This is how you lose me." Those words struck him like an invisible blade, but instead of yielding, he raised his saber and took a step forward. "Then you forced me to this," he screamed, preparing to attack. Yoda spun his saber into defensive position and advanced, his grave voice echoing, "Fight, if necessary it is. But lose, believe I do not." The duel advanced with the fury of the planet itself. Anakin attacked with heavy blows, each thrust charged with hatred and despair. Yoda retreated without losing balance, dodging each attack with short and precise movements, as if dancing on the edge of the abyss. The flames raised columns of fire that illuminated the two warriors, transforming them into living shadows on the incandescent metal. Padme, fallen a few meters away, tried to call her husband's name, but her voice was lost in the roar of the magma. "End this, Anakin, please," she pleaded, but his eyes were blind with rage. In a brutal advance, Anakin tried to strike down Yoda with a diagonal blow, but the master spun around himself and, in a movement quick as lightning, struck the young man's mechanical hand. The blue lightsaber escaped and fell, spinning to the metal floor. Anakin screamed in pain and rage, kneeling without his hand again. The echo of the blade deactivating sounded like a sentence. "Defeated, not by strength, but by fear you were," said Yoda, slowly lowering his green saber. Anakin raised his eyes, tears mixed with sweat. "You don't understand. I only wanted to save her." Padme brought her hands to her belly and let out a cry of pain. Time seemed to split in two. "Yoda, it's happening. The baby." She leaned against the ground, feeling the contractions that came violently. Anakin looked frightened, hatred giving way to panic. "Padme, no! Not now!" He tried to crawl to her but was stopped by Yoda, who kept the blade ignited between the two. "Choose you must, Skywalker. Follow the Emperor or help your son come into the world." Silence fell for an instant, heavy as destiny. Anakin looked at his lost hand, at the woman he loved in suffering, and then at the master who challenged him with serenity. His lips trembled. I cannot leave her like this. I need her." The blue saber still smoked on the ground, but Anakin did not try to recover it. Yoda extinguished his blade and approached slowly. Then, right choice made. Help her, you must. Redemption, at this moment, begins. Anakin ran to Padme, supporting her in his arms while she screamed in pain. "I am here, my love. I will not abandon you." The two moved with difficulty to the ship, with Yoda behind them after picking up Anakin's saber. R2-D2 opened the ramp, beeping as if calling everyone inside. With effort, the trio entered, and the ship took off, leaving Mustafar behind, with its flames still roaring as a reminder of the abyss that almost swallowed them. Destiny took them to Polis Massa, where the medical base awaited. There were Obi-Wan and Bail, who ran upon seeing the ship land amid the rush of medical droids. "Padme!" shouted Obi-Wan, seeing his friend being carried on a stretcher. Bail looked at Anakin with suspicion, but held his words upon seeing the anguish on the young man's face. In the medical center, the environment filled with tension. The machines beeped while Padme entered labor. Anakin, after being treated by the droids, held her hand, tears flowing in silence. "Forgive me. All this is my fault." She squeezed his hand tightly, even exhausted. "No. You can still be the man I loved. Stay with me, Anakin." Obi-Wan kept his distance, watching carefully, still hurt by his friend's fall, but hopeful at what he saw. The first cry broke the silence. A medical droid lifted a child wrapped in cloth. "It's a boy." Anakin looked at his son, emotion flooding his chest overwhelmingly. "Luke," he murmured, touching the child's face with his good hand. Shortly after, the second cry sounded, and a girl was presented. "And a girl," said the droid. Padme smiled through tears. "Leia," she whispered, before closing her eyes for an instant, exhausted, but alive. Seeing the two children before him broke the chains that bound him to the dark side. Anakin cried, embracing Padme and looking at the babies. "They are perfect. They are the future." Obi-Wan approached slowly. "There is still good in you, Anakin. I can see it." Bail nodded silently, understanding that a new path was forming. Yoda crossed his arms, eyes half closed. Balance, not by power, but by love. Achieved it was. Anakin, still marked by pain and loss, looked at Yoda and then at Padme. I don't want the Emperor's power anymore. I just want to be with them, protect them, and guide them. Padme rested her head on his shoulder, smiling through tears. The cries of Luke and Leia filled the room, and in that sound there was a promise of hope. The young Skywalker, facing what he had almost lost, finally returned to the light. Anakin walked through the cold corridor of Polis Massa, the weight of guilt stamped in every step. Before Obi-Wan and Bail, he confessed in a low voice everything he had done at the Jedi Temple. The children, the young Padawans. I killed them, he said, his voice choked. Obi-Wan closed his eyes, as if those words were a blade in his heart. Do you understand the gravity of what you're saying? Anakin nodded, tears running down his face. I understand. And there's only one way to redeem myself, and the empire I helped create. Obi-Wan placed his hand on his shoulder. Then, I will go with you. But Yoda interrupted firmly. No, Kenobi. Powerful enough to face the Emperor, you are not. Train the boy. Someone must. If fail we do, a new hope still remain will. The decision was made. It would be Anakin and Yoda who would depart together to Coruscant. The ship crossed space in silence, the tension greater than the roar of the engines. Anakin, seated at the front, looked at the stars like one facing his own sins. He trusts me, Master. Palpatine believes I am still his apprentice. Yoda responded, eyes closed in meditation. Use this, we can. But careful, great the temptation is. Upon landing in the outskirts of the Senate, Anakin walked beside Yoda, leading him in shackles as if he were his prisoner. With each step, Skywalker's heart beat faster, divided between fear and purpose. The great hall of the Senate opened before them, empty and imposing, illuminated by artificial rays that highlighted the Emperor's elevated throne. Palpatine waited, a dark smile drawn on his face. Very good, my young one. Master Yoda, brought as prisoner, you finally understood your place. The voice echoed like poison. Anakin clenched his fist, but maintained the mask of obedience. Yes, my lord. Here's the last of the Jedi. Palpatine leaned forward, his gaze full of triumph. Together, we will finish him. It was then that Yoda raised his eyes and spoke in a firm voice. Deceived you are, Sidious. Chosen Skywalker is. His mission, destroy the Empire, it is. Palpatine looked at Anakin, surprised, and for an instant silence dominated the hall. But then the young man activated his blue lightsaber, raising it against his own master. Enough lies. Enough empty promises. Today, everything ends. The Emperor's laughter echoed like thunder. Fool! You think you can defeat me? The room shook when he released Force lightning toward the traitor. Yoda leaped, his green saber intercepting the lightning and deflecting it, creating a barrier of light and energy. Fight alone, he does not. Behind him, the Force is... Palpatine advanced in a whirlwind of hatred, the red saber emerging from his hand. The blows fell upon Anakin, each stronger than the last, but the young man resisted, with each block remembering Padme's face, Luke, and Leia's cries. I will not lose anything more to you, he screamed, pushing the Sith backward with a powerful blow. The duel took the center of the Senate, the platforms trembling under the impact. Yoda remained in the rear, parrying the lightning when Palpatine tried to surprise them, and his words echoed to Anakin like a mantra. Mission of the Chosen One, this is. End of the Empire. Bring balance. Anakin attacked with renewed speed, his blue blade meeting the red one in flashes of sparks that illuminated the furious faces. Palpatine growled, realizing that the power he had molded to serve now challenged him with fury. In a moment of opening, Anakin advanced with a spin, cutting through the Sith Master's guard. Palpatine staggered, eyes wide. You cannot, he screamed, releasing more lightning in desperation. Anakin blocked them, pain burning his body, but his determination did not yield. "Not for me, but for my children," he roared, and with a final movement, crossed the blue blade against the Emperor's neck. Silence fell, and Palpatine's head rolled across the cold floor of the Senate. Yoda approached, deactivating his saber, expression serene. "The Empire, destroyed. Redeemed you are, Skywalker." Anakin breathed heavily, his body trembling between the weight of victory and the relief of liberation. He fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. I finally did it, Master. Not for power, but for love." Yoda nodded calmly. "By love, strong you became." Path of light again followed. At the top of the hall, the flames of war began to extinguish. Anakin rose, sheathing his saber. "I will return to Padme. I will return to my children. That is where my place is." Yoda leaned on his cane, observing him with respect. Chosen one, fulfilled his destiny. But always, watch you must. The shadow, far away, never is. And so, with his body marked and his soul reborn, Anakin Skywalker finally walked toward redemption, bringing with him the promise of a future in peace.